Yeah, this week's video is going to be a bit late. God, that looks rough. Oh, I'm still feeling pretty rough actually at the moment. So yesterday I had the second eye operation, and well, fortunately it feels okay. Oh, it's not okay. It feels like shit actually. It feels really rough at the moment. It's been an interesting few days. So I've been working on the studio, and I've been building stuff and knocking stuff about, working on the Defender, building stuff, knocking stuff about. And about 3 days ago, I noticed in my right eye, the vision had changed. And you see these floaters, looks like an Ordnance Survey map of roads, occasionally drift into eyes. Well, that's floaters. Well, I had that happen, then in an increasing amount. And then I had a dark shadow start to form in my right eye as well. I thought, that's not good. And I put it down to, because I'm under a bit of stress at the minute. And I've put it down to that. So I thought, just go chill for a bit, spend the night, calm down, and you'll be fine in the morning. So I did that. The following day, went through the day a little bit better, but it still wasn't right. So I booked an appointment with the optician the following day. I went down to see the optician down at Specsavers, and in there, a guy that I met, Billy, he had a look at the eye, and he was very interested in getting these microscopes really close into the eye and looking around with really bright lights. A bit uncomfortable, but necessary. He said, I'm going to write a referral. You need to go to hospital, and they'll call you within 24 hours. I'm like, okay, must be pretty serious then. Do you want to see something cool? If you have a look closely at my eyes, I've been to the opticians and they've got some weird stuff going on with my right eye at the minute, and it's all blurred, and I think I've knocked it or damaged it somehow. Don't know how, don't know what I've done, but they've just put some drops in to be able to look at my retina, and it turns out I've got a split retina, and that's leaking some stuff into my eye, causing all this sort of blurriness going on. So now I'm just waiting for a call from the hospital to find out how they can get and repair it. I don't know how that's going to work, but it doesn't sound good. So I got back home, and by the time I got back home from town, from being in the opticians, the phone rang. I got a call. They asked me to go straight in and go and get assessed by the hospital now. Shit. Hello, this is the eye surgery at the hospital. Wondered if you can come along and come straight away, and we'll fit you in. That really doesn't sound good. So I rezzed over to the hospital and went to see the eye specialist there. Massive hospital, took me a flipping age to walk around and actually find it. You're going from corridor and corridor and corridor. It's a maze. I got there in the end, got to the eye centre, and went in, and they take you in and dilate your pupils first of all. Alright, so again, eye drops in the eyes, both eyes this time, and now waiting for Dr. George to have a look. And then take you to an ocular camera where they get really close to your eye, take a bunch of different camera angles and different images for your eye, and then they piece that together to make almost like a 3D map. So you get a map of your eye, which is pretty much an oval shape, and you can see all of the areas around it. And when I met with the specialist, the surgeon, Mr. George, he called himself, Mr. George had a look through another set of microscopes, and he said, "Oh, okay, you've got a tear." So that that's the damaged part of my eye in 3D representation. And what does that mean? He said, well, you've torn your retina. I'm like, how the heck have I done that? I have no clue. He said, you've either been punched or you've been knocked or damaged or hit in some way that's knocked your eye. I have no recollection of anything. I can only assume, because I'm building here and doing the work on the Defender, I'm getting knocks and bangs and hits all the time, that I've caught myself or scratched. I do remember scratching my eye and going too quickly, and I thought, oh, that was really uncomfortable. I wondered if it might be that. He showed me the tear and showed on the image where it was. And it formed a perfect V shape, as if, you know, you tear a piece of paper and it rips back down two lines and creates like a flap. And he said, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use laser to tack around the tear, because there is a risk that the fluid in your eye is now leaking through that hole, and if we don't do something about it, the fluid will leak in and push your eyeball away from your retina, and you'll get a separated retina. And if your retina not attached to your eye, you're not going to see. So I've had a bunch of lasers shot in my right eye, and that has hopefully created enough scar tissue to hold that rip in my retina together for a period of time, until the healing takes place in about a week. He said, you know, who was your optician? And I said, oh, it's Billy at Specsavers in Market Street in Truro. He said, oh, I don't know that guy. He said, but you've got a lot to thank him for, because he's just saved your eye. Like, wow, okay. He brings it home how close things were. And I you know, I was going to do the typical bloke thing. It'll be all right. I'll just give it another day. But if I had have done that, then the fluid would have pushed out of my eye and pushed in between the eye and the retina and separated the two, and that's it. I'd be blind. So fortunately, thanks to Billy, I'm going to be able to have continued use of the eye, and I'll come to, you know, what that means in a bit. So we agreed that I'm going to have this laser surgery, and he said, well, you know, here's the consent form. Now, normally I'd read everything in a contract that I'm signing, and I couldn't read the form. And he is a very direct guy, and he said, well, do you want the surgery or not? Okay, I haven't really got much of a choice, have I? I went, yeah, you could have set up retinal separation if you want, or you could have a surgery and we'll try and save it. I'm like, well, let's go for option B then. So we cracked on. Mr. George, he got me set up against the laser. He located the tear and he started work. And it was really tricky because they have to take these lenses, and they're just like lenses that you have on a camera or on a microscope, but they put this gel on it and they pop it literally on your eyeball. And then they aim the laser through to be able to get the focus beam of light around the tear, and they put, it's like spot welds, and they pop spot welds down in a line either side of the V, and it's supposed to be all round it. They didn't quite manage all round, but as we worked through the various lenses, he then switched over to, he said, look, I can't get it with this lens, I'm going to use a mirror. Right? He said, yeah, I've got this three. He told me about this afterwards. At the time, he was moving quite quickly to try and get this resolved. So he'd got a lens, looked like a spherical lens, and off the side of it were three shaved sides. And I thought, that's going to kind of like refract the light. He said, yeah, well, it mirrors the light. So the idea is that a laser can point straight. So it was going straight into my eye. However, the damage was actually on the side. So what he was having to do is pop this mirror onto my eye, shoot the laser against the mirror to bounce it to work round a corner. And so whilst he was working round the corner, what he could do, he could get to the ends of the V and pop rivet all the way round the outside of it and create a good seal there. What he couldn't do, because the top was out of sight, it was up and almost like you need the laser to bounce back and shoot backwards out to be able to get to the top surface of the top tear. So push came to shove, that meant that the surgery that he performed covered 66% of the area, 2/3 of the area was covered, which still meant there was potential that the top part could always leak. It may not, he said, but it could do. So to be sure, what we need to do is we need to create scar tissue in the area that's damaged so that it firms together. So what we're going to do is we're going to freeze that. So you'll need to come back tomorrow and we'll have another go at eye surgery to be able to get that area frozen. So, interesting night, didn't sleep particularly well because it wasn't exceptionally invasive. I've had laser surgery, to correct my vision in the past, and that was quite uncomfortable, but this one wasn't so bad. He just shot through the eye and focused at the back of it, so it wasn't too bad. Still got the blurry vision, still got the floaters going on, but it's somewhat stabilised now. So next day, Friday, yesterday, it is operation number 2 today. I am bricking myself, I'll be honest with you. Anything messing about with eyes is always going to be a bit weird. So just waiting for Claire to get back, and then she'll give me a lift over to the hospital and get it done. I went into the surgery, and the idea was that I knew that it was a packed schedule, and I got into the waiting room, and it was packed. There were people everywhere, loads of people, and I thought, oh my God, here I am. I felt a bit guilty really because I rocked up, and I've been informed the previous day to go to the surgery. And yet all these people, you can guarantee they've been waiting for weeks or possibly even months to be able to get in there. But obviously it must have been quite an emergency for them to push me ahead in the queue and get me in there and get seen that day. So I waited around for a lot of people to go through. And then I filled out all my details again about what age I am, usual how much medication you're on, which I'm not on any, what any history in the family of any medical implications, which don't really have. So quite fortunate that bit was really quick. Got that sorted in no time, and then I got sent over to back through a whole bunch of other corridors, finding my way through the hospital to get over to this centre called the Elen Centre, which is where they do surgery. Now, I assumed when I went into the Elen Centre that it was all about eye surgery. There's a couple of guys opposite, and they're all in gowns, like full-on gowns. I'm like, crikey, it's extensive dress wear for eye surgery, isn't it? And the guy's like, well, I'm having stones removed, kidney stones removed. I'm like, oh, right, sorry about that. I didn't realise it was for all sorts of surgery. Ended up, I'd got up there just so it's clear which eye it is. I don't know, 9:30 in the morning. Right, 1:20. I'm just waiting. And throughout the day, eventually got into surgery at sort of 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the evening. Right, so that's me set. I've got the drops have just been applied, and now I've got to just wait for Andrew. He's a cool guy, Australian. If I can, I'll capture his Crocs because they're just mad. And he's then going to operate and do the cryogenic freezing on the eye. And I, hands up, I was bricking it to know that they're going to. The surgery that they were going to do, and they did describe it, that it's quite an invasive surgery, and what they do is they get behind the eye, and the aim is to freeze that part of the retina. and that creates a scar tissue, which of course, you know, it's going to obscure the vision for that particular area. But fortunately, because it's not in the line of sight, it's quite a difficult area to get to. It's not going to impede my vision from the surgery. So taken in, laid on the bed, they then administered a local anaesthetic on the eye. And I've got to say, best ever anaesthetic placement I've ever had, because I never felt a thing. It was absolute, didn't feel a thing. No pinprick, no nothing. And then they put in a specular, the round thing that stops you from blinking. Now that is horrible, because then you've got this wire frame in your eye, and you're able to see what's coming. And they're coming in your lights and checking in around again. And then they started up with the cryo device, which was, it looked like a soldering iron with a tiny glowing crystal at the end of it. And when you heard the message cryo on, that's when you knew that the thing was going to hit, and you get an absolute blinding light hitting your retina and exploding in a sea of white. One of the odd things about it, when that happened, when the white light exploded across my eye, was that the shape was really rectangular. You kind of think that with an experience like that, you would get more organic shapes, but it was like watching a fireworks show from a 1980s block pixel, like, I don't know, 96 by 96 screen camera, because you were getting actual squares of light, single pixels, or like the Windows symbol you see with brilliant bright white squared lights separated by crosses, and then a big ball of like white fire with all of these things coming out of it. A really peculiar experience. Very uncomfortable, as I'm sure you can imagine. You know, you're getting stuff pressed with your eye, and whilst you're doing this, they're saying, look to your left, look to your right. And you've got the specular pushing on your eye, and they're trying to shove liquids in every so often and do the surgery on your eye. And then it was done. Then they patched over, and you know, it's done at least. You can see here, still got the remnants of where they mark to make sure that you've got the right eye being operated on, the correct eye. They actually put permanent marker on my head, and this permanent marker, I can't shift it. So I'm only walking. I don't know how long this is going to last on my head, but it's there. So the upshot is that I've now had this eye surgery, just bricking it, going in, didn't know what was going to happen. Saw all sorts of weird lights when they put the cryo pen in, and they use this specular thing in your eye, put a bit of I don't know what it is, anaesthetic in first of all, and then put the specular in, which keeps your eyeball open, and then they go in with this pen, press the cryo thing, and you just get, it's quite uncomfortable, it's got to be said. See a load of stars, and then it's done really quick. Probably in there for about, well, the whole thing, maybe 15 minutes. That's including have the anaesthetic. It's all good. So now I just got to recover for a bit, and then I can rock on home. I've still got quite a lot of discomfort. I've got some drops that I've got to put in every 4 hours for the next week, 2 weeks in fact. And then I've got to go back and see, get checked out again, see how things are healed. Can't do anything for the next 48 hours, and supposed to be relaxing for a week, which is going to kill me to sit still for a week. Because the other difficulty is, of course, my vision is quite severely impaired at the minute. It will improve. My body will apparently absorb the blood that was in the eye, that will reduce the cloudiness of my right eye. But the artifacts that I can see, it looks like a plethora of Ordnance Survey maps floating around on my right eye. Those apparently are going to stay. So my vision will over time improve a little bit, but it's now permanently damaged in my right eye. Not to the point that I'm blind in there. I can still see through there. I just get, I'll try and show the sort of image that I can see when I look down the garden out of my right eye compared to what I can see out of my left eye. Yeah, so needless to say, this has slowed me down a little bit. I'm not going to be doing anything else on the studio for the week. Hopefully I'll be able to get the last week's video finished off. Ordinarily I'll get that done on a Thursday, Friday, and get it polished and finished and shipped out so that you guys can see it on a Saturday morning. Obviously I was in surgery, so a little difficult to edit a video whilst you're doing that. So I shall try and get that sorted, hopefully over the next couple of days, get that one released, and then this one that you're seeing now, this one I'll pop out for next weekend. So bizarre times. You never really realise that what can happen, literally in the blink of an eye. Quite a scary thing. I guess, looking on the bright side, it's fortunate. It's one of the body parts where you've got redundancy. We've got two eyes, although it bugger up my distance vision, and that's one thing I've really noticed when I'm trying to grab things with my one eye. I'm like, oh, it's a bit further away, or it's closer by. Oh God, that hurt. Oh crikey! But yeah, it's going to get better, and all of that'll go. God, it looks evil, doesn't it? And hopefully it'll just return back to a normal white eye bulb again. But yeah, I'm looking a bit of a freak show at the minute. But that's the least of the worries. I don't really mind what I look like if as long as I can still function. Possible causes then. So there was this sort of impact, as they pointed out, is normally a blunt trauma, although on very, very rare occasions it can actually occur on its own, and there is no rhyme or reason. The surgeon, the first surgeon, Dr. George, did say that my retina were particularly thin. I mean, I don't know if that means that they're prone to this, more likely for this to happen, or if it's just a one-off occasion that just so happened. I mean, I could have done this in my sleep, caught myself, banged my eye. Who knows? I'm really grateful to Billy at Specsavers in Truro. Without his knowledge and foresight and strong words, to get me in so quickly into the surgery at the hospital, then things would be very different indeed. So, there were some great people that I met. Obviously, Billy, Mr. George, Elena, Justin, and of course Andrew, who did the ice surgery. Proper characters in there as well, and even though I was in for a very short space of time, they did all make my stay as comfortable and as calming as possible. For such a quite a traumatic thing, they did a great job of calming me down, as well as working wonders with so many other patients and with so many other constraints. A little bit ranty, right? But there were so many things that I could see that could be improved. So many things. There is so much wastage. This software that they have to use, and they have to use a process to be able to print out documents to then send them documents across the hospital. And when they're doing these printouts, with each save that they do, each record sends out a bunch of header pages that get thrown away every single time. So make a change, you get the header pages, and there's like 5 or 6 pages. That's ink, paper, wear on the printers, binned. And that was just one person in a hospital that is covering thousands There were thousands of people that are working there and were being seen and operated on in there. The other scary part about that was that whilst I was in there, the power in the hospital, all the lights went out. The power cut 4 times. You know, this is the most southwesterly city in the UK, and the power outage, it was like we're in a war zone. The 4 times, complete blackout, everything down, and then power back up again. Now apparently this was a cut over to the generator, and that's what happens when it goes to the generator, and the power goes down again when they cut back. But this was a busy day. There were hundreds of people that I saw in there. God knows what surgeries they would have had and been in the middle of when the power goes out. And it's down for, you know, you're down for 4 or 5 seconds at a time. Just imagine if you're trying to place your scalpel on an artery, you know, and you've got to be microscopically precise, and the power's out just at the point you're going in there 4 times. Bonkers, bonkers, bonkers. Anyway, yeah, despite all of those, that working situation that those folks are under, they did a tremendous job, and you know, it makes you very humble to live in a country where this sort of work can be carried out on you and for you for free. You know, I paid for the prescription, the eye drops, and that was it. I've had hours and hours and hours of surgical time with you know, probably about 20 odd people engaged throughout that process, plus the others that are behind the scenes doing all of this. And this is one of the benefits that we have here in the UK, that this service, flipping amazing. Anyway, there we go. So that's it. So now you know what happened last week, and hopefully from now on things will get a little bit easier. I'll tell you what, I'm definitely going to be putting my eyeglasses on more. I've only got 1 pair of eyes. I'd like to keep it that way. But anyway, that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Rich, and this is It's Adventure. I hope to see you again very, very soon. Don't forget, if you want to see how this build is progressing or what's happening on the Defender, then do click down here, click on that subscribe button, and click on the bell, and you'll be notified the next time I release a video. I'll see you again very soon.